Before we begin, I want you to pause for just a moment. Take a breath, feel your heart beating, and ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you truly felt calm, no matter what was happening around you? We live in a world where pressure is constant, where distractions are endless, and where the demand to react, instantly and emotionally, feels almost impossible to resist. But what if I told you there's another way? A way to face every challenge, every criticism, and every unexpected turn, not with panic or frustration, but with quiet, grounded strength. Tonight, I want to share with you something deeply personal yet universally powerful. How you can train your mind to be calm in every situation. Not by denying reality or pretending problems don't exist, but by discovering an inner stillness so strong that even the loudest storms can't shake it. I promise you this isn't just theory. It's a practice, one that can transform not just how you handle stress, but how you see yourself, how you make decisions, and how others see you too. So I invite you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole heart, because somewhere inside each of us is a calm that can't be broken. And tonight, together, we're going to find it. Let's start by talking about something so simple, yet so often overlooked: the power of inner stillness. We live in a world that moves fast, sometimes too fast. Notifications light up our phones, expectations crowd our calendars, and the noise outside seeps into our minds until it feels like we can't hear ourselves think. And yet, within all of that, there's a place so quiet, so steady, that nothing outside can truly disturb it unless we allow it. That place is within each of us, and finding it isn't just a comforting idea. It's the first and most essential step toward becoming unshakable, no matter what life throws our way. I want you to imagine, just for a moment, what it would feel like to move through your day anchored by that kind of calm. You wake up in the morning, and even before your feet touch the ground, you pause. You breathe deeply, reminding yourself that no matter what emails await you, what demands will be made, or what unexpected news may come, you have the power to choose your response. That power doesn't come from pretending challenges don't exist. It comes from acknowledging them fully, without letting them control you. It's like standing in the center of a spinning carousel. Everything can whirl around you, but your footing stays firm. True calm isn't something we stumble upon by accident. It's something we cultivate by learning to step back from our thoughts and emotions, observing them rather than being ruled by them. When we practice this, even briefly each day, we begin to discover that our minds don't have to be at the mercy of external events. There's a moment, often no longer than the span of a breath, between what happens to us and how we react. That moment is where calm is born. And the more we train ourselves to notice and expand that moment, the more powerful our inner stillness becomes. We often think calm means silence on the outside, but in truth, it's about silence on the inside. It's about quieting that voice that says, "You're not ready, you can't handle this," or "What if everything goes wrong?" It's about understanding that those thoughts will appear because we're human, but we don't have to let them dictate our choices. Instead, we can meet them with a simple, powerful acknowledgement. I see you, but you don't get to decide for me. In that gentle refusal to be carried away, we find strength. A strength far deeper and more lasting than anything we could force through willpower alone. Imagine sitting in traffic, running late to an important meeting. The instinct is to tense up, to rehearse explanations, to get frustrated at every red light. But what if, instead, you notice that tension rise like a wave, and you let it pass? You breathe, remind yourself that your worth and capability aren't defined by perfect punctuality. Suddenly, you're still in traffic, but your heart isn't racing. Your mind stays clear. And when you finally arrive, you speak calmly and confidently rather than stepping into the room already defeated by your own anxiety. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about seeing it clearly, without the distortion of panic. It's about giving yourself permission to feel stress or fear, without letting those feelings become the lens through which you see the world. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. What starts as a conscious effort, breathing deeply, stepping back from racing thoughts, grounding yourself in the present, slowly becomes who you are. Calm becomes less of a technique and more of a habit, an undercurrent to your daily life. And here's something beautiful. When you begin to live this way, people notice. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. Your calm presence becomes a quiet reassurance to those around you. In meetings, in conversations, in moments of disagreement, your steadiness gives others permission to slow down too. You become the person others look to, not because you have all the answers, but because your mind isn't clouded by fear or frustration. You show them without words what it means to face life's challenges with dignity and grace. Some days, of course, it's harder than others. There will be moments when your patience wears thin, when anxiety rushes in like a storm. That's okay. Calm isn't perfection. It's resilience. Resilience. It's the choice to begin again over and over each time we're pulled away from that quiet center. Every breath, every pause is a chance to return to it. And over time, we find that returning becomes easier because we've built a pathway back to ourselves. What truly matters is knowing that this calm is already inside you. It doesn't need to be created. It only needs to be uncovered. And the more you practice, the more clearly you hear it, like a soft but steady heartbeat beneath the noise of the world. So as we continue, remember this. The power to remain calm in every situation doesn't come from changing the world around you. It comes from discovering, nurturing, and trusting the quiet strength that's always been within you, waiting to guide you, no matter what comes next. Let's talk about something that might feel counterintuitive at first. The idea that every challenge, every frustration, and even every moment of anxiety can become an opportunity for growth. It's so natural to see difficulties as enemies to be avoided or fought against. We brace ourselves tense up and hope to get through them as quickly as possible. But what if instead we chose to view them differently? What if instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We gently asked, what can this teach me? It sounds simple, but that shift changes everything. Because suddenly stress isn't just stress, it becomes a teacher. And fear isn't just fear, it becomes a mirror showing us where we still need to grow stronger and steadier. Think about the times in your life when you felt most tested. Maybe it was a disappointment so sharp it left you breathless, or a failure that made you question your worth. At first, it felt like an ending, didn't it? But if you look back now, I suspect you can see something else too. Maybe you discovered resilience you didn't know you had. Maybe you found new clarity about what truly matters. Or maybe, in falling down, you learned how to rise with a little more grace. That's the hidden gift of every challenge. It invites us to become more than we were before. It's easy to say this when life is calm, but the real work, and the real transformation, happens in those moments when calm feels furthest away, when your patience is stretched thin, when plans fall apart, or when criticism stings. In those moments, the instinct is to tighten up, defend ourselves, or shut down completely. But what if instead we practiced pausing and seeing what the moment has to offer us? What if we became curious, not just reactive? Imagine you're faced with unexpected criticism. The natural reaction might be defensiveness, to argue back or retreat in silence. But if you pause and ask, what is this showing me about myself? Something shifts. Maybe it highlights a blind spot you hadn't seen. Or maybe it teaches you to stand firm in your truth calmly and respectfully, rather than lashing out. Either way, you leave the moment a little wiser, a little steadier. That's growth. And it's in these everyday situations, small frustrations, delays, disappointments, that we get the chance to practice turning obstacles into opportunities. When we start seeing life this way, challenges lose some of their power to overwhelm us. They still come, of course, because that's life. But instead of being something to fear, they become part of our training, a way to strengthen the mind, just like lifting weights strengthens the body. And just like muscles grow not during the moment of struggle, but in the recovery that follows, our inner strength deepens each time we step back, reflect, and learn. This mindset doesn't deny the pain or frustration we feel. It honors it, but it doesn't stop there. It asks, and now, what? It invites us to move forward, carrying not just the scar, but also the lesson. And slowly, this habit of reframing becomes a quiet source of confidence, because you begin to know, deep down, that whatever comes, you won't be defeated by it. You'll be changed by it, and often changed for the better. Consider even something as simple as daily stress, deadlines, traffic, unexpected news. Rather than seeing these as interruptions to peace, what if we saw them as reminders to return to it? Each frustration becomes a nudge, a breathe. Center yourself. Respond and don't react. And over time, those moments stop feeling like attacks and start feeling like practice. Practice in patience, in self-awareness, in grace. In grace, this isn't about becoming passive or pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing the deeper value in what we'd usually resist. Life's greatest teachers rarely come wrapped in comfort. They come disguised as setbacks, rejections, or delays. And yet, looking back, it's often those very moments that reveal our strength, refine our character, and shape us into who we're meant to be. When you start to live this way, you'll notice something else too. You become less afraid of what might happen tomorrow. Because you trust that even if tomorrow brings difficulty, you'll gain something from it. That trust doesn't make pain disappear, but it makes it meaningful. And when pain becomes meaningful, it becomes lighter to carry. And so in every situation, whether it's a conversation that didn't go the way you hoped, a plan that fell through, or even a quiet fear whispering late at night, you can ask yourself gently, what is this here to teach me? That single question can transform anxiety into insight, frustration into patience, and fear into courage. And slowly you realize that calm isn't something that only exists when life is easy. It's something you can carry into the hardest moments because you've chosen to see those moments differently. You've chosen growth over resistance, curiosity over fear. And that choice changes not just how you feel, but who you become. Because at the end of the day, life will always bring challenges, but it's what we do with them, how we see them, and what we learn from them that truly shapes our calm, our strength, and our peace within. One of the most liberating realizations we can ever come to is this. No matter how hard we try, we can't let's talk about something we often overlook in our rush to stay busy and productive. The daily habits that quietly shape who we become and how calmly we face the world. Because the truth is, calm isn't something that just appears one morning because we wished for it hard enough. It's built brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice, by choice. And those choices are often so small they barely register at first. Yet over time, they become the foundation of a mind that feels steady no matter what's happening around us. Think about how most of us start our days. We wake up and almost before our eyes are fully open, we reach for our phones. We check the news, scroll through messages, and within minutes, we've invited the world's noise into our minds before we've even invited our own thoughts. It's a habit so common we barely notice it. But what if we change that first habit? Imagine waking up, sitting quietly for a few minutes, and simply breathing deeply. Instead of letting the world set our mood, we take a moment to remind ourselves of who we are and how we choose to meet the day. It's a small shift, yet it changes everything. Because instead of starting from reaction, we start from intention. These daily habits aren't about adding pressure to live perfectly or scheduling every breath. They're about gently guiding our minds to remember what matters most. A few minutes of conscious breathing to ground us. A short reflection on what we're grateful for to soften the sharp edges of stress. Even a mindful walk, where we let ourselves truly notice the sky, the ground beneath our feet, and the simple fact of being alive. Each of these practices might seem ordinary on their own, but together they create an environment inside us where calm isn't forced. It naturally flourishes. The beauty of these habits is that they don't require us to escape our lives. We don't have to retreat to a quiet mountain or spend hours meditating every day. Calm is built in the middle of real life, during the walk to the office, in the few minutes before a meeting starts, or in those quiet moments before bed, when the day settles behind us. It's built by choosing to pause before we speak, to breathe before we react, to reflect before we judge ourselves or others. And over time, those pauses become as natural as breathing itself. One of the most powerful habits we can build is simply asking ourselves, how do I want to respond? Instead of letting our first impulse guide us, that single question opens space between what happens and what we do next. And in that space, we find freedom. Freedom to choose patience over anger, clarity over confusion, and kindness over defensiveness. It's not always easy. In fact, some days it feels impossible. But even trying is an act of training the mind. And every time we try, we grow stronger. There's also something incredibly grounding about ending each day with reflection. Just a few minutes to ask, what challenged me today? How did I respond? What might I do differently tomorrow? This isn't about judging ourselves harshly, but about understanding ourselves better. Because awareness is the first step toward change. And as we notice our patterns, we gently learn to meet stress and disappointment not with panic, but with curiosity and resolve. Gratitude, too, is a habit that transforms our relationship with calm. It doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but it does mean reminding ourselves daily that even in struggle, there is always something to be thankful for. A kind word, a moment of laughter, the simple chance to try again tomorrow. Gratitude softens the mind and opens the heart, making it easier to meet life's challenges with steadiness rather than resistance. Some people worry that living calmly means living passively, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Calm built through daily habits is an active calm. It's a strength that comes from preparation, like a tree whose roots grow deep long before the storm arrives. And when the storm does come, and it always will, because that's life, those roots keep us grounded. We bend, but we don't break. What's most encouraging is that anyone can start building this calm, no matter where they are now. You don't have to be naturally patient or have years of experience with mindfulness. All you need is the willingness to begin with one small habit and to keep going, even when it feels like nothing's changing, because change is often invisible at first. It's only later, when we face something that would have overwhelmed us before and find ourselves steady, that we see how far we've come. And perhaps the most comforting part of all is knowing that calm isn't something we have to chase outside ourselves. It's something we can cultivate right here in the quiet choices of our everyday lives. It's in those choices to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to let go of what doesn't serve us, that we slowly build a mind strong enough to remain calm in every situation. Because in the end, calm isn't a destination we arrive at. It's a practice we live, one mindful moment at a time. Control everything. And often, it's our struggle to control the uncontrollable that steals our peace more than anything else. Think about how much energy we pour into worrying about what others think of us, predicting what might happen tomorrow, or wishing we could rewrite something that already happened. It's exhausting, isn't it? But there's another way. A quieter, steadier way to live. And it starts with learning to separate what is truly in our hands from what is not. Imagine holding two baskets in front of you. One basket is labeled to things I can control, and the other is labeled to things I can't. What is staying into the first basket go our thoughts, our words, our actions, our choices in this moment. Into the second basket go everything else, the past, other people's opinions, the weather, the unexpected events life sometimes throws our way. At first glance, the second basket looks so much bigger, doesn't it? But here's the truth. The power and peace we're all searching for lie in that first, smaller basket. That's where our influence truly begins and ends. And the moment we stop trying to carry both baskets at once is the moment we begin to feel lighter, calmer, and freer. It might sound simple, but living this truth in daily life takes practice. Picture a stressful morning. The traffic is worse than usual. You're running late. Your phone is buzzing with messages you haven't answered yet. In that moment, frustration surges up so quickly. But if you can pause, just long enough to breathe and remember what's in your control, you can shift your entire experience. You can't make the traffic disappear, but you can choose to turn on music that soothes you instead of news that heightens anxiety. You can't change the time, but you can send a quick, calm message to let someone know you'll be late, rather than rushing in flustered and apologizing breathlessly. Those choices, as small as they seem, are your power, and it's in these small moments that calm is either kept or lost. Sometimes the hardest part is accepting that some things are simply not ours to fix. We want so badly to shield the people we love from disappointment, to make everyone like us, to plan our days so carefully that nothing unexpected ever happens. But life doesn't work that way. And the more we cling to that illusion of control, the more frustrated and anxious we become. When we finally learn to say, "This isn't mine to carry," it feels like putting down a weight we didn't even realize we were holding. And in that space we create by letting go, calm has room to breathe. One of the most empowering things we can do is remind ourselves, especially in moments of stress, what part of this belongs to me. And then act only on that part. If someone criticizes you unfairly, you can't control their words, but you can choose whether to respond calmly or not at all. If a plan falls apart at the last minute, you can't change what happened, but you can decide your next step instead of staying stuck in blame. This isn't about being passive or indifferent. It's about investing your energy where it truly matters, rather than scattering it everywhere and ending up drained, and what a difference that makes. Instead of living in a constant state of reactivity, where every unexpected turn feels like a crisis, you begin to feel grounded. Life can still surprise you, but it can't easily shake you. And the people around you feel that too. Your calm becomes a quiet influence, a reminder to them that it's possible to stand steady even when the ground seems to shift. It's also important to remember that what we can control most deeply is often invisible to others. Our mindset, our perspective, the stories we tell ourselves. Two people can face the same stressful situation and experience it completely differently. One sees only the problem. The other sees the problem and immediately starts looking for a solution. The difference isn't luck or circumstance. It's that quiet decision to focus energy on what can be changed rather than what can't. And the more we do this, the more natural it becomes. It's in this gentle discipline of choosing where to direct our energy that real calm is born. Because calm isn't the absence of storms. It's knowing where to anchor ourselves when the storm comes. And our true anchor is always in what we can control, never in chasing after what we can't. Of course, this doesn't mean we never feel disappointment, frustration, or fear. We're human. But when those feelings rise, instead of letting them take over, we can ask ourselves that grounding question: what part of this belongs to me? And then act, or simply let go with intention. Over time, you'll notice that this practice changes your relationship with stress itself. What once felt like chaos becomes a series of choices. What once overwhelmed you becomes manageable, because you're no longer fighting battles that were never yours to fight. And the peace that comes from that isn't fragile. It's a calm built on clarity and trust in your own ability to respond rather than react. In the end, it's not about controlling the world outside. It's about mastering the world within. And in doing so, you discover a calm that can stand in any storm.